All right, this one says, do you ghost when you lock in? Right now, I'm locking in on my goals. I've deleted most social media, stopped going out, and put all my energy into focusing on me. I get distracted easily, so I really need the next 3 months to just grind and get things done. But man, I get bored ash sometimes. Bored ash. Oh, I get I get bored sometimes. How do you find balance? How do you maintain a social or love life without it pulling you away from your goals? For me, it feels impossible. Until I bang out my goals, I can't give any energy to anyone else. I've already wasted a lot of my 20s getting caught up with the wrong people. So it's time that I put all that energy back into myself. I just didn't realize how isolating it can get. Does anyone else relate? First, can definitely relate. I think most of you guys can relate to this as well. But when it comes to locking in, the best time to do this is really in that probably 18 to 24 range for young guys. That's a period where there's a lot of transition happening. You're learning, you're kind of figuring out what path you want to take in life. And part of that is finding what it is that you enjoy doing and then just completely immersing yourself into it and going ghost. So if you don't know what going ghost means, that means you completely isolate yourself from social media and really any outside contact. And you are just totally focused on your goals. I'm not saying that you don't have conversations with people, but if people are going out, if people want to go have fun or do anything outside of work, you don't do it. You are locked in 110% on your goals. So going ghost is not an easy feat by any means, but it can be very useful if you use it in particular times in your life. So 18 to 24 range, probably the most prime time to do that in your life because you don't have a lot of, well, most people don't have a lot of responsibilities at that point. Now, when this guy talks about he's wasted a lot of time in his 20s getting caught up with the wrong people, I'm assuming this guy is now probably in his mid to late 20s. He might even be in his 30s. So he's already at a disadvantage here because generally as you get older, you start accumulating more responsibilities. You have more obligations. People start getting into longer term relationships. They start thinking about having a family. By this point, you have either found yourself in a career that you enjoy doing, so it takes up a lot of your time, or you started a business. And, during this time, it's probably still in growth mode. So you're really hustling to grow your business. So you can see that as you ascend through your 20s, your time is much, much more limited. Not to say that this guy can't go ghost mode and do this, because it does seem like he's single since he talks about how do you maintain a social or love life without it pulling you away from your goals. He's asking about how do I find balance? Well, you don't. This is not a time of balance. This is why it's so hard for this guy, because as you do this when you're younger, you have this time to just completely immerse yourself with really no repercussions of anyone getting mad at you. But if you have a long-term relationship, especially if you have kids or a business, those things are going to suffer if you do not give them adequate time. You have signed up for these things. If you're in a long-term relationship, if you have kids, a business, you have signed up for that stuff. So to step away and devote all of your free time to going ghost is a pretty selfish thing to do if you are at this later period in your life. There are certain instances where your significant other, if they are understanding, will support you in it. I happen to be very fortunate that my wife understands how I kind of work and how intense I like to focus. And I can go periods of time where maybe we don't do as much, but I can cover a lot more ground in the business and whatever it is that we're trying to build. But she always knows that it's my responsibility to make that up to her. I can't just live my entire life like that. So that's something to really take into consideration for this guy is you need to do this as soon as possible, especially if you're single, you don't have any other responsibilities or obligations. But it is isolating and it can be very challenging. I am a big proponent of this though, because you can really expedite your goals from a long time horizon to a very short time horizon just by this focused work. You'd be very surprised what you could do in a few months. But anyways, if you can take that time to just dedicate all your time and focus, you will be much further ahead of really the majority of people in your peer group. So, big proponent of going ghost. It's got to fit in your lifestyle. It's got to be kosher with everyone involved if you do have these other responsibilities or obligations. That's all I got for you guys on this one. If you have any questions, you want to just contribute to the conversation, drop a comment. Talk to you soon.